Good morning, Kelly Long from Marathon Equipment. I want to welcome you to this startup procedure on our MM100PT. I have 39 years of experience in the pavement maintenance equipment manufacturing. I do the training and tech support here at Marathon Equipment. This machine is a 100-gallon propane fired Mastic machine and is very small for doing smaller projects, and we also use it for rental fleet. I'm going to do a daily walk around circle check on things that you need to check prior to firing up the machine. So starting at the front, we want to make sure that we have a full bottle of propane. And it's always a good idea to have an extra bottle of propane depending on how much work you're going to be doing with this unit. And I'll go over the startup procedure on this. Daily check your tire pressure on your wheels, making sure that your tire pressure is up. And weekly check the grease in the bearings. As we come to the back of the machine, you'll notice that there's a sticker here that says grease weekly. And what we are talking about is greasing this bearing, making sure that this bearing is greased and that we fill this bearing with grease. And as you fill it, you'll see the grease come out of the bearing. Very important that we get that so that we're not running this bearing dry, or else you'll have to get it replaced. As we come around to the far side here, to the front of the machine, we have another area. You take off these 4 bolts, lift off this plate, and from underneath you can get to the front bearing. And that front bearing will allow you to grease it, and again, that's done weekly. Very, very important that that gets done. One thing you want to do before firing up the machine is you want to load it up with material. This particular machine, you can start out with 4 to 6 blocks. Take the block, put it on the lid, and then close. Okay, let that drop in, and there's a safety switch on the lid. When you open it, it disengages the agitator, so it's not moving. When you close it, it engages the agitator again. We're gonna now follow through with the startup procedure. So the first thing I'm going to do is turn on my propane. My propane, I want to set it at between 25 to 30 psi. Okay. And in behind the propane bottle, I've got ball valves. I want to turn my main ball valve on, my engine ball valve, and propane to the rear of the machine. Then we'll fire up the engine, remembering to turn on our battery disconnect, make sure that's on. Choke your engine, half choke. We have the engine started. I'm going to come to the rear of the machine. I'm going to open up my automatic temperature control box and turn on my main power, which now it shows my temperature of my oil and temperature of material. And the burner just ignited. So now the burner is on and heating up the heat transfer oil, which in turn the oil will heat up the material. What I can do also is, this is a tool heater. I can heat up the tools. You need the tools hot to apply the hot mastic. I open up this ball valve, open this up, turn this and a handheld torch, and now I have my tool holder heating up my tools. Very important that you have your tools hot when you're applying material. When you come to the back, you have your digital readout of temperature, and you also have, we have analog temperature readouts. This one being material, and this one being hot oil. Typically it's going to take about an hour for the oil to come up to 550 degrees Fahrenheit, and 2 hours to heat up the material full, 100 gallons. Now you don't have to have it full to operate the material or apply the material. As the material gets up to reading between 340 and 360 degrees Fahrenheit on this digital readout, you can start applying. We have an overnight heater that comes with every machine. This overnight heater can be plugged in at night, and it will maintain 250 to 300 degrees on your oil, which in turn will keep the material at that temperature. So that allows for a quicker heat up time when you start up in the morning. So you always want to make sure you unplug that before you leave the shop. Now we're ready to apply material. What I'm going to do is, we have a safety pin. We lift that off, put the pin back. Now we've got our chute, and this chute, as you can notice, it swivels and allows you to move it to whatever position you want. I have my propane on, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my torch, which I have in the back, which is standard with the unit. I'm going to turn on the propane, turn on my handheld torch, turn my torch on, and then turn on my chute torch. There's also a safety pin here for our gate, and we've got to make sure that we remove that before we heat up our gate. So we need to heat up this gate, get that material nice and soft. This takes a couple minutes. Very important to have that chute nice and warm. Periodically you want to push down on the handle. And there we go. Now we can open up and material will come out down onto your chute. One thing we want to mention is make sure that with the MM100, the 250 and 350, we recommend only pre-packaged mastic material only. Anything else will void warranty. Okay, one thing that we do prior to any mastic job is make sure we clean the area with a blower, and then we apply a gap mastic primer, which the primer is recommended, and that will help the mastic to adhere to the asphalt for a few more years. Okay, some of the tools that we use for mastic. If you're going to be doing a pothole, it's good to use the trowel, the squared off trowel. Again, with every tool you want to keep it nice and hot. If you're doing long cracks, we want to use the 8-inch draw box, and that'll perform and make a nice even patch all the way down your crack. Our flat iron, when it's hot, it smooths out all the edges of the mastic, just smoothing it out to the original road surface. We're finished putting mastic down, and I'm going to do a shutdown procedure. I'm going to make sure that my propane's off to the chute, turn that off, turn off this main propane valve, this valve to my wand, and make sure that that's shut off. I'm also going to turn off my ATC. I do not require the ATC now. I will shut this off and turn off my strobe light and close the panel. My tool heater, I'm going to turn off my burner valve and main supply valve. I'm going to turn off my main propane supply first to deplete the propane out of my hoses. So I'll turn this off, and the propane will come down. I will turn off my engine, turn off my main power supply, and turn off my 3 propane supply ball valves. And our hydraulic valve, we're going to make sure right now it's in reverse. We're going to put it in neutral position, which is off. We want to make sure that everything is off for your operation so that you don't start the engine up next time you fire it up. The final thing that I'll do, I wanted my chute to cool down. I will take my chute and I will put it in its storage position. Take out my tool, put it in here, close my tool heater, and that completes our shutdown procedure.